Welcome to Bluegrass Brooklyn, our podcast all about the music we love, coming to you straight from the Bluegrass borough of Brooklyn, New York.
Well, welcome everybody. My name is Liz Wolfe.
And I'm Mike Wilner.
And this is Season 2, Episode 9, another Women in Bluegrass episode where I had the joy and privilege of interviewing Kimber Ludiker, the band leader at Della, and she is also the organizer of a fabulous bluegrass camp at Ashokan. I cannot wait to go. It is August 4th through 8th, and it is a wonderful week of really top-notch instructors, and of course, my favorite part, jamming until 2 in the morning. And that is at the Ashokan Center, which is up in Olive Bridge, New York.
And don't forget about the quiz. Afterwards, the listeners can test their knowledge on the history of women in bluegrass. The festival season kicked off here in the New York area with Porch Stomp, a folk festival that takes over Governor's Island. It's really an incredible time. The Bluegrass Brooklyn stage hosted 9 bands. All of the musicians were drawn from the jam circles around Brooklyn and New York, and some great bands we spotted at the recent Jam Jersey event. So it was a lot of fun. Liz, you have festival plans, don't you?
I do. I have a lot of fun festival plans. I am starting out in the middle of July going to the Foxhole, which is the pre-Gray Fox Festival. I'm going to go to Gray Fox, which of course is like the crown jewel of the summer. Then I'm going to be going to Wind Gap, which is out in Pennsylvania, followed directly by the Bluegrass Camp with Kimber on August 4th through 8th. And then I'm going to be going, hopefully, to Podunk. And that's if I can still get my husband to follow me around to all these festivals.
Wow. We came across a festival in northern Massachusetts, at Lowell, Massachusetts, the Lowell Folk Festival. It's a small city, but a big festival. Bluegrass, Cajun, country, world music. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's in late July, the 25th through 27th.
So if you're listening from afar, looking around for music, you are sure to find some. There's some really wonderful small town festivals all over the U.S. and the world, I think. So take a look for those.
Yep. And please remember, follow us on Instagram at Bluegrass Brooklyn. Brooklyn is spelled BKLYN. You can visit bluegrassbrooklyn.com or jump onto Facebook and join the fun at Bluegrass Brooklyn Group.
Yes, and don't forget, we have lots of great jams happening in the New York City area. Go to bluegrassjamsnearme.com. And guess what, Mike? We are starting another Jersey jam.
Amazing.
And so the bluegrass scene in Jersey is really picking up. And I would like to make an early bird announcement that we already have the dates for Jam Jersey 2026. It's going to be March 20 through 22nd. And you can reach out to me because we are compiling an early notification list right now to let you know all the details when they become available.
Awesome event. Can't wait.
All right, let's get started.
Yeah, let's roll.
By welcoming Kimber.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Liz.
As we were prepping for the show, you were rattling off the whole list of all the things that you are working on. So I think you're one of the hardest working women in bluegrass. And so let's just start off with a quick list of what are you working on right now?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've been really busy. I'm running 3 camps, the Ashokan Bluegrass Camp, and the California Bluegrass Association's Youth Academy, and I run the whole youth program at IBMA. Also, my band Della is releasing a new album in October, so we're finishing it up right now, and I'm working on a twin fiddle record with Deanie Richardson from Sister Sadie. If you haven't heard of Sister Sadie, go listen to them. They're another really amazing all-woman bluegrass band. Plus, this summer, my band is playing a bunch of shows to honor the great Hazel Dickens, a truly first-generation bluegrass woman who we didn't really hear a ton about until even after her death. So we are touring with her longtime music partner, Gerrard, who is 90, will be 91 this summer, and also with California bluegrass virtuoso Lori Lewis, who is a mentor to me, and I've just been obsessed with her my whole life. So we're doing a multi-generational bluegrass show featuring Hazel's music.
Yeah, I was at IBMA last year, so I got to see Lori Lewis then, and of course have listened to a lot of Hazel Dickens and Alice Gerrard and all that. So that must be quite thrilling to be able to tour with some bluegrass icons.
Oh, it's so inspiring. Yeah, it's been really fun going to the Bluegrass Harmony Singing School of Lori Lewis while we've been working up all of these
Wow.
songs. She's just the best. Yeah, she is a way with arrangement and just knows exactly where the parts should hit. You know, every time you're around a new musician, you get an inside view into their brain. And it's been a really cool ride so far.
I guess Alice is still singing at 90.
She is. And Alice just moved 20 minutes away from us, from Durham to Maryland. So we're already making plans to get together and play music. We just feel like we totally lucked out that we get the addition of Alice Gerrard to our community. It's so fun.
Tell us a little bit about your musical journey that brought you to this moment in time.
Sure. Yeah. So I grew up playing fiddle. There were 5 generations of fiddlers in my family, and I tried as hard as I could to not be a professional musician, but it just kept calling at me. I really tried not to. It can be a really tough life. It's just really undependable and it's scary. You have to be really brave. So I just kept getting called for shows, and my heart really ended up being in music. I'm a bit of an overachiever. So when I found myself getting into the bluegrass scene, I just didn't see very many women side musicians on the top billing bands in bluegrass. And it was really disheartening to me because I'd been playing fiddle my whole life, have a few national championships under my belt. And when you're entering a career, you have that motivation to succeed. And I just didn't really see a whole lot of space available for that. So I decided to start my own band and have it be all women. It's not just a band, it's a movement and a project. So we all have made the decision that just touring isn't enough for us. We want to be involved and we want to fight for women's rights, and we want to work on a lot of projects that increase visibility for women musicians, for queer people on stage. So we have a whole list of purpose.
So many things I want to ask about that. First of all, I've been going to Gray Fox since 2012, and I remember going to see Della Mae. Of course, I took my daughter and her friends to see Della Mae because literally at that time it was like 4 or 5 women. There was only women practically in the whole program, and it was a novelty at that time. And
Mm-hmm.
so fast forward 10, 12 years, of course, you're all very accomplished musicians. You've worked really hard in the industry, et cetera. And then last year you were the artists in residence.
Mm-hmm.
All 4 of you were, right?
That's right.
What I want to share about that is what I love is how it has transitioned from being this novelty to now. I mean, I'm with her was there, Sister Sadie's,
Mm-hmm.
Della Mae. There's way more women on that bill.
That's right. Yeah. When I first started the band, the idea was that it would seem like a novelty, and then you would hear us, and then you're like, oh, it's a group of really great musicians. I mean, we weren't the first all women band, but I do believe in bluegrass, we were the first full time touring all women band. And, you know, it's hard to keep a band together in the first place, but we've managed to keep it together for 14 years. I'm really proud of that. And from playing on a side stage at Gray Fox to having headlining sets and being artists in residence, looking back, it's hard to see progress when you're in the middle of it. But
Yeah.
Gray Fox is our kind of our home festival, and they embraced us right away. And there's not a year they haven't asked us to play the festival, and it really means a lot to us.
Well, you did say that being a full-time musician is a tough life and that you really have to be brave. So I'm really curious about that part of it for you. What does that mean for you to be brave?
I think it's putting all of your eggs in the music basket is scary, and fees don't go up quite as much as the cost of travel goes up. You can book a show a year in advance. Like we booked a show for California a year in advance. And then when it came to buying flights, they were $600 each direction. This was just a fluke. Like there was something going on in Sacramento where we needed to fly from. So like we're booking into a different city and renting a car and doing a long drive. It is crazy that all of your schedule is determined 9 to 12 months ahead of time. So you might miss a family wedding. My little cousin just got married last weekend when we were at Merlefest, and she literally told me the day after we had signed the contract. So there are those things like pushes and pulls with your personal life. Avril was the original guitarist in the band, and she played until she was 8 months pregnant and then took 6 years off. There's always something pulling you from every direction. And so I think that's where the bravery comes in. It's a really amazing career with some of the highest highs and some pretty low lows as well. Just the exhaustion and travel things and missing family and missing huge moments in people's lives.
Yeah, paying for bases to be shipped
Oh,
on.
man, it's ridiculous. I mean, if you ever see a musician flying with an instrument, and you see them having problem getting it on the plane, please walk up and back them up and say, I'd be willing to check my roller bag if it means they can put their instrument on. Because most of us don't have something in our carry-on suitcase that equals, like, my dad's violin bow. He passed away 10 years and I play on his bow, and no way I'm going to put that under a plane. People are like, oh, don't travel with your expensive instruments, but it's your job. It's your sound. It's like telling a singer, why don't you just borrow someone else's voice for this gig? It really means that much. So yeah, if you see a musician in an airport, they're going through all kinds of stress in their heads right now because airlines are changing policies and it's very stressful.
Let's talk about some of these camps. First of all, I want to hear a little bit about the youth program camps that you're doing. Why youth programs?
I've always been interested in perpetuating fiddling, and I feel like it's part of my duty. Coming from a long lineage of fiddle players, my mom is a great teacher. She started this fiddle empire in Spokane, Washington. So many great fiddle players have come out of there. It's just always been in my blood. I went to school for elementary education and ended up touring instead. But there's always a part of me that wonders, would that be crazy? Maybe I should just go refresh my credits and start teaching school. But I have a lot more fun teaching music and getting to run programs the way that I want to and being trusted to come up with the curriculum. It's just so much fun for me. I started off in 2019 running the California Bluegrass Association's Youth Academy, and that's for 8 to 16-year-olds. They have that camp every year at their festival in Grass Valley. If you ever get a chance to go, it's called Father's Day Festival. And it's really fun. And I'll tell you what, more kids know more traditional music in California, like bluegrass, like they're jamming. They know the whole canon of traditional tunes and songs than anywhere I've ever been to in the country. And it's because they have wonderful kids programs and they have this songbook with all the traditional songs in it. And so these kids know all of the standards and it's really cool.
Now, I'm curious, what would you say distribution is boys to girls in those camps?
It's pretty much half and half, I would say. And more, you could break it down to instruments too. There are always a lot more girl fiddlers for whatever reason, which is really cool to me. I'm like, yeah, get it. When I started running the program, there weren't very many girl guitar players, but now there are so many because of all the girl guitar players out there, and Molly Tuttle is from California. So we're seeing a lot of girls coming up flat picking, not just playing guitar, but like flat picking. So the Molly Tuttle effect is strong.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
One thing that's really wonderful is for you to be a role model and for them to see you doing it and Molly Tuttle and etc.
I will say, as a camp organizer, going down the list of instructors for each instrument, like I got so many no's from women this year. I got a couple no's from men, but I was really struggling with it because I'm about to put up a teacher lineup that isn't equal. And that is very hard for me to swallow. I asked so many women. Next year, I'm going to circle back to all of these women and we're going to have more women than men next year. But there are only so many all women bands to go around. And sometimes things don't work out, but you just have to work extra hard.
Speaking of camps also, so there's the Ashokan Bluegrass Camp. What were the dates for that again?
That's August 4 through 8.
August 4 through 8. So I went last year for the first time.
It was so fun.
Hope and plan to be there again this year. Awesome time. Highly recommend it. It goes from Monday to Friday. So you don't even have to give up anything on your weekends to go.
Yeah.
And it's great instructors, great jamming. I think Ashokan has great food, as relatively speaking.
Compared to basically every other camp, the food is tremendous. The camp, it's 3 full days. You arrive on Monday afternoon. There's so much jamming. And the instructors jam a lot too, which is really great because it's a smaller camp and they're staying on site. We're not sending them off to hotels. So they really get into the culture of things. And I only hire people that are all in like that too. So you'll see them jamming and eating with the campers, and it's just so fun. I love the culture we've built there. There's an outdoor instructor that leads hikes, and
Yes.
there's nature drawing class at the same time as open mic happy hour. I love it so much. It's my favorite camp that I've ever taught at, and now I get to run it.
Definitely highly recommended.
And my headline teacher is a woman, and that's Tammy Rogers from the Steel Drivers.
Oh,
And so
wow.
she's coming to teach fiddle and songwriting. She's written most of the Steel Drivers hits. She is an incredible writer. I think she's the queen of the fiddle riff or the instrumental riff.
That's amazing. I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Switching gears now, I have
Mm.
a question as a fiddler for you. What's your favorite fiddle tune?
That's a really tough one. I have layers of favorite fiddle tunes, I think.
Okay.
I think my all-time favorite fiddle tune for like my whole life is Redwing. And I especially like the rewritten lyrics to that song that are union made. So if you haven't heard that, go check that out. And we're huge union people in our band. My partner, Avril, who's also the guitarist, has worked for her whole career in the labor movement. And as well as being a touring professional musician, she's still a consultant for SEIU. She's just working on all of these campaigns. And right now she's trying to organize Uber and Lyft drivers, like app drivers. And so it's cool. She gets to fight for workers' rights, and which are basic human rights. Everybody wants to be able to afford to live where they live and wants healthcare and childcare and fair wages. So we're really proud of that. We write and we play and we sing a lot of songs about labor unions. And that's also what draws us to Hazel Dickens' music too, because she
sure
was
did.
really an activist. She wrote a lot of great songs about workers.
So, how many fiddle tunes do you think you know?
Thousands,
Thousands.
thousands. I've tried to count a bunch, starting with books. Like how many of these songs are there in these books? But I guarantee it's thousands. Yeah.
So, as you travel, do you see that different people play different fiddle tunes? Like there's one that always gets called or something.
Yeah. If you go to Colorado, everybody knows the New Grass, for lack of a better word, catalog of Reichman and Flinner tunes, and they probably adopted Salt Spring before anyone else. I lived in Texas for a year in Austin. I learned Old Gray Owl. I first started hearing it from them, and now it's spread all over the place. And that's a really fun tune. It's a little, as they say in Austin, heady. There's a little wonky part of it where it adds a beat. It's much like old time music too. You have common songs and common tunes, but they might differ regionally of what people gravitate towards.
Give me, if you have one, either a jam anecdote, which is just some story about a jam that you've been to that was a little unusual, or maybe you have a performance jam anecdote or some story I'd love to hear.
Yeah. So I have a real embarrassing moment where I was recording in the studio working on, I'm not going to name any names, but I was working on a legendary mandolinist's record, and we were recording a traditional song, but the guitarist had made this arrangement of it. It's just a little bit different. So we were doing his arrangement, and it came time for me to take my fiddle solo. And I thought what I played was great. And at the end of the take, he gets on the microphone. Kimber, can you just stick more to the melody? My whole sense of being was completely deflated. Here is this guy that is one of the best musicians, and he just told me basically, don't improvise. Like that sucked. Can you stick to
Oh,
the melody? I felt so bad. And I think the other musicians were like, whoa, that was really rude.
a little harsh
A
there.
little harsh. And I listened back to the recording and I'm happy with it. What I played, I thought was good. And that has shaped me in the studio in a couple different ways. I think if I have multiple passes at things, I'll have one where I know that I have it and I rein myself in. And then for fun on additional takes, I'll branch out. And then whoever's producing can decide what direction to go into. But it's not just about me and what I want to play in the moment. It's about what I was doing wasn't serving the song. I thought it was. But I've changed my approach to recording to give a couple of stylistic options, something that's just sturdy and more to the point, and then have fun after that.
Because Della Mae's coming out with an album, you said.
Yeah.
Camps, some private fiddle lessons.
And then I'm in a pottery studio when I'm not doing all this other stuff.
Okay, I missed the whole pottery thing.
Yeah.
All right. And you have a child and a relationship. And
I know.
So is all of what you're working on your website, fiddleparty.com? Is that where we can?
No. People can keep up with what I'm doing from my social media and my Instagram, which is just at Kimber Ludiker. Usually I just post what's going on there. And then Della Mae's website. I'm building a new website that is not just, hey, we're a band, here are our dates, but here are the things we believe in. And this is like our mission. I think especially in this day and time, we want people to know who we are and know what we're going to be singing about, and know that if you go to a Della Mae show, we're going to be talking about these certain subject matters. We're trying to present ourselves in a way that people that will want to find us can find us.
Last question. You can pick up to 3. What are your top 3 favorite Della Mae songs?
Ooh, I would say there's a new one on our next record called Family Tree that was a big cathartic write for me. I co-wrote it with Avril and then with our friend Becky Warren, who's a Nashville songwriter who's incredible. And I was just playing with this idea about generational trauma, baggage, maybe passed down from the previous generation, and you can follow that or you can change. And this idea of leaving your relatives a mess to deal with. It's a song about generational trauma, but wrapped up in a really peppy bluegrass package. Like that is totally bluegrass.
That is so bluegrass.
I love our song Headlight. It was written after Christine Blasey Ford's testimony. It goes out to survivors, and it really just is about listening to women and believing women. That's a really powerful song. And then the third one, man, I would say it's another new song. It's called Outrun 'Em. And if anyone listening is involved in a shoe company, this is a perfect song for you. But the chorus is, if you go with the crowd, you can't outrun them. Can't blaze a trail from the middle of the path. It's a really sweet message and a really groovy song. We're recording all of these songs with Allison Brown, who is one of our absolute heroes. She's the first ever woman to win Banjo Player of the Year, and she's just one of the singular talents on the banjo.
Okay, I know I said it was the last question, but I just thought of another question. You said 4 generations of fiddlers?
5.
5. So are we moving on to the 6th with your daughter? Is she fiddling?
Nope.
Dang.
No. I know, right? There's no one in my family has ever been forced to play an instrument. It's just a string of luck that it's lasted so long.
You can follow Kimber on Instagram and Facebook at Kimber Ludiker, and to poke around and just see what's happening with Della Mae, or come to the Ashokan camp, come to Gray Fox to see the Hazel at 100 show. It's just amazing. I really want to appreciate you for the incredible hard work that you are putting into your band, your family, and how you represent women in bluegrass. It's really benefiting from your efforts. So I really want to appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
All right, lots of good music coming out. So let's say goodbye for now.
Thanks, Liz.
As we continue our exploration of women in bluegrass, we have another quiz for you. And this quiz is all about Hazel Dickens. This is her 100th anniversary of her birthday. So I have some questions for you about Hazel Dickens and her life. Of course, the first question is, do you know where Hazel Dickens was born? The answer is in Montcalm, West Virginia. She was one of 11 children in a coal mining family. Now, you would know this if you are familiar with her song, West Virginia, Oh My Home.
West Virginia, oh my home. West Virginia's where I belong.
Question number 2. What is the major theme that runs through many of Hazel Dickens's original songs? She was quite a songwriter. The answer here is social justice and labor rights. So while other, mostly men, were writing about murder and getting left behind with their trains on the tracks and all that kind of stuff, Hazel had a very specific theme, which she wrote about strikes and about the plight of the coal miners, including Black Lung. In fact, she had a song called Black Lung that was written as a direct tribute to her brother, Thurman Dickens, who died from black lung disease in 1963. She wrote that song in 1969, inspired by the pain of watching Thurman die, as she said, with no funds to pay for his medical expenses.
Had more hard luck than most men could stand. The mines was his first love, but never his friend. He's lived a hard life, and hard he'll die. Black lungs done got him his time.
If you listen to Hazel Dickens' songs, you're going to hear about social justice and labor rights. Okay, question number 3. Before she became a performer, what kind of work did Hazel do? And the answer is she was a factory worker. She moved to Baltimore during the post-war migration, and she worked in a factory. While she was in Baltimore, she met Mike Seeger, Pete Seeger's brother, and he encouraged her to play music. She eventually was able to join the local folk and old-time music revival scene, which included people like Seeger and other key figures in the 1960s folk revival. Now, as a factory worker, she witnessed firsthand the exploitation of these working-class people, especially women, in both the coal mines and the industrial urban settings. Question number 4, Hazel Dickens and which fellow musician formed one of the first all-female acts in bluegrass? And of course, you probably know the answer to this one, Alice Gerrard. Together, Hazel and Alice were pioneers in a genre that was basically entirely male-dominated at the time. They formed a duo in the 60s, and they were one of the very first professional bluegrass acts made up entirely of women. Based on her history of writing about social justice, many of the songs that they wrote and performed boldly addressed those issues. Next question. This is something I actually wasn't aware of until I did some research on it. The question is, what instrument was Hazel Dickens best known for playing on stage? And the answer is the upright bass. So although she learned to play the guitar as a teenager, she became most closely associated with the upright bass, a role that was especially unusual for women in bluegrass at the time. Okay, well, that's it for our quiz. I know I enjoyed learning a lot more about Hazel Dickens. If you get a chance to go see Della Mae and Laurie Lewis in their celebration of the 100th anniversary of Hazel Dickens's birth, you should definitely do that. Okay, everybody, thanks for playing along.
United we stand, divided we fall, for every dime they give us.
Well, that was an amazing interview. I loved getting to know Kimber and really learning about her commitment to the world of social justice and making an impact, not just in the bluegrass world, but beyond. And of course, I really enjoyed learning a lot about Hazel Dickens, who
Yeah.
fascinating life.
Yeah, talk about an authentic character.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Women in Bluegrass, and we look forward to having you listen in on our next episode.
Okay, we look forward to seeing you around the jam circle.